Act 1. The Endless Pull. The neon sky of the liquid citadel cracked open. Before the Burger King could finish chewing his breakfast sandwich, a low, guttural vibration tore through the glass floor. A vortex of absolute, unrelenting vacuum pressure, smelling faintly of old lasagna, ectoplasmic slime, and stale pepperoni pizza, swirled beneath his boots. The king didn't flinch. He didn't drop his crown. He just stared blankly as the floor vanished beneath him, pulling him headfirst into a swirling, gravitational abyss. Pop! He fell through space, landing flat on his back. Before he could even push himself up, another tear ripped open in the ceiling, dropping a groaning, orange-furred cat right onto his chest. Whoosh! Another portal opened. A blob of green, semi-solid goo dropped from the sky, splashing directly over the king's face. The Burger King shoved the green slime aside, stood up with eerie, soundless grace, and looked around. He wasn't in a mall. He wasn't in a beverage multiverse. He was standing in the infinite buffet dimension, a boundless, floating expanse of endless, smoking barbecue pits, towering mountains of pastries, and rivers of melted cheese. And surrounding him was the most terrifying assembly of bottomless stomachs the universe had ever known. Act 2. The Pantheon of Gluttony. The heavyweights of bottomless consumption were already circling, their eyes locked on the intruder and the half-eaten sandwich in his hand. Garfield, lounging lazily on a lazy boy floating in midair, wiping marinara sauce from his whiskers, looking intensely annoyed that someone interrupted his nap. Slimer, Ghostbusters, hovering in a sickly green glow, chewing voraciously on a floating hot dog cart, dripping ectoplasm everywhere. Michelangelo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, perched on a massive stack of pizza boxes, twirling his nunchucks made of crusts, shouting, "Cowabunga, dude. Is that guy dressed like a fancy pizza delivery boy?" Homer Simpson, materializing out of a donut-shaped cloud, wiping pink frosting from his chin and burping loudly. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, cowering behind a towering pyramid of double-decker pastrami sandwiches, accidentally swallowing a whole tray of sliders in one gulp of pure terror. Obelix, Asterix and Obelix, a massive, braided belt-wearing ancient Gaul hauling a roasted wild boar the size of a minivan over his shoulder. Garfield let out a heavy sigh, pointing a lazy claw at the Burger King. "Hey, plastic head, you're standing in my lasagna zone. Leave the sandwich and get lost, or I'm gonna get cranky." The Burger King didn't answer. He simply tilted his head, reached into his royal robes, and pulled out an extra-large, fully loaded Whopper, holding it out like an offering, then slowly crushing it in his fist. The insult was heard across dimensions. The battle for the ultimate buffet had begun. Act 3. The Buffet Brawl. Absolute, chaotic gluttony erupted. Michelangelo leapt off his pizza box tower, executing a flying kick aimed straight at the king's ceramic white face. The king sidestepped with zero warning, grabbing a stray pepperoni pizza from midair and throwing it like a frisbee straight into Mikey's face, blinding the Ninja Turtle as he crashed face first into a vat of Alfredo sauce. Meanwhile, Slimer shrieked a high-pitched, gelatinous battle cry and launched himself forward, intending to pass right through the king's body and coat him in slime. But as Slimer lunged, Homer Simpson, blinded by sugar rush rage after someone knocked over his box of jelly donuts, charged forward like a bowling ball, intercepting Slimer midair. The Ghost and the Suburban Patriarch collided in a massive, cartoonish explosion of ectoplasm and sprinkles. Across the arena, Obelix roared, swinging his massive wild boar like a war club. The impact grazed the king's shoulder, sending the monarch skidding across the floor of melted cheddar cheese. Garfield, realizing this fight was interrupting his Monday hatred, finally stood up. His eyes narrowed into dangerous, orange slits. With unnatural, cartoon physics speed, Garfield materialized a colossal, 3-tier deep dish lasagna, lifting it above his head like a Stone Age executioner's axe. Nobody ruins my feeding schedule. Act 4. The Ultimate Swallowing. Cornered against the edge of a bottomless chocolate fondue waterfall, the Burger King found himself surrounded by the elite icons of eating. Obelix raised the wild boar. Michelangelo drew his nunchucks. Homer cracked his knuckles, and Garfield leveled his gargantuan lasagna. The king didn't panic. He reached into his velvet robes one last time, pulling out his ultimate, reality-breaking weapon, the bottomless infinite value meal. With a slow, sweeping motion, he popped open the massive cardboard container. It didn't just contain food. It contained a gravitational singularity of pure, unadulterated, deep-fried temptation. A shockwave of pure grease, French fry aroma, and golden brown perfection blasted across the infinite buffet dimension. The effect on the gluttons was instantaneous and absolute. Shaggy and Scooby abandoned all self-preservation, diving headfirst into the box like a pair of cartoon vacuum cleaners. Homer Simpson dropped to his knees, crying tears of profound joy as he crawled toward the scent. Obelix dropped his wild boar, his eyes turning into giant spinning hamburgers. Even Garfield, the cynical king of lasagna, stopped dead in his tracks, his jaw dropping so low it hit the cheese floor. Is that bacon infused? Before any of them could take a bite, the Burger King gave a single, swift, silent kick to the edge of the value meal box, sending it sliding across the floor. Like a stampede of wild beasts, Garfield, Homer, Obelix, Michelangelo, and Slimer lunged forward in a chaotic, tangled dogpile, all trying to cram into the same box at once. The sheer force of their combined, unstoppable appetites sent them tumbling over the edge of the floating platform, diving headfirst into the bottomless, swirling vortex of the chocolate fondue river below. The sole sovereign. Silence returned to the infinite buffet dimension. Down in the chocolate abyss, muffled sounds of chewing, arguing over who got the last onion ring, and happy gasps echoed into the void. Standing alone once again at the edge of the precipice, the grease smoke swirling around his leather boots, the Burger King adjusted his crown, looked directly into the camera with his unblinking, terrifyingly calm plastic smile, and took a slow, deliberate bite out of a plain hamburger bun. Winner, the Burger King,